Is Solskjaer heading back to Old Trafford? A masterstroke or a fatal mistake from the United hierarchy? Chelsea are ready to splash the cash on a new goal scorer. Ousmane Dembele is forcing the issue at PSG. How will the club react to the player's bold ultimatum? Barcelona have made their final decision on the Rashford transfer, and Juventus are picking up a city star for absolutely nothing. All of that and more in today's video. Hit like and let's jump into the hottest transfer rumors. Bernardo Silva and Manchester City, that is it. A 9-year story seems to be reaching its finale. The Portuguese star who has won absolutely everything at the Etihad is finally ripe for a change of scenery. Plus, he intends to leave in the loudest way possible, as a free agent next summer. According to Fichajes, Juventus have officially entered the race for the player. The Turin side have already initiated talks and started actively testing the waters to see how realistic it is to snatch Bernardo for free. Truth is, Silva has been pushing for an exit for the last few seasons. Rumors about his departure popped up regularly, but every time Pep Guardiola managed to find the words to convince the Portuguese to stay. But this time, the Catalan seems to have simply run out of arguments. When a veteran's contract expires and there is no new deal on the table, convincing him to stay is almost impossible. Bernardo has already decided not to renew with the citizens, which means he will be the tastiest treat on the market next summer. The logic behind Juventus's move is clear. Despite needing to build a new team, this fits the classic style of the Bianconeri. In recent years, Turin has earned a reputation as a club that simply loves high-profile free agents. For them, this is the only way to maneuver in a difficult financial situation. Money for huge transfer fees is not always there, so Juve are looking for high-class solutions for a moderate price. That means €0 in compensation to the club. Silva is a priority target for the old lady to strengthen the midfield. Signing such a player would be a serious statement of intent from Juventus, saying we are still in the game and can still attract the best. But do not think Bernardo will come to Turin without a fight. Many clubs are vying for his signature, including teams from Saudi Arabia who are ready to shower the Portuguese with gold. That is why Juventus started acting now. Preliminary talks are an attempt to take a favorable position in the queue. Of course, it cannot be said yet that the Italians are the favorites in this battle, but the very idea of bringing Silva to the Bianconeri looks extremely attractive. The Juve management now faces the test of finding the strength and resources to close this deal. Getting such a player for free would be a real masterclass in the transfer market. Paris Saint-Germain have faced unexpectedly stiff resistance in talks to renew the contract of their main star. We are talking about Ousmane Dembele. You would think after a triumphant season the sides would shake hands quickly, but the club's first attempts to extend the deal have hit a brick wall. As reported by the reliable outlet RMC Sport, the Parisian management approached the player with a starting offer of €30 million a year. The sum is massive, yet Dembele plans to turn it down. The winger's camp has taken an uncompromising stance according to data. His reps are asking for exactly double, €60 million annually. These demands are based entirely on status. Ousmane delivered a simply phenomenal 2024-25 season. He was the key factor why PSG finally won their first historic title as Europe's strongest club. Dembele's personal trophy shelf is fully maxed out too. The Ballon d'Or, the Best Award, and the title of Best Player in the Champions League. Obviously, in this situation, the winger demands a reward that fully fits the status of the world's best footballer right now. Currently, PSG is in a proper tight spot. The club is running a huge transfer campaign but trying to keep a strict balance on the wage bill. The boss's new strategy is preferring big variable bonuses rather than fixed salaries. However, this caution failed once already. It was precisely due to not wanting to inflate the payroll that Gianluigi Donnarumma left Paris for Manchester City last summer. The leadership must choose between staying true to financial policy or making an exception for a key asset. The situation is fueled by the player's age. In May, Ousmane turns 29. The current agreement runs to 2028, and the readiness to negotiate now highlights their wish to keep Dembele even when his career peak is behind him. Right now, negotiations are miles off finishing. PSG must now find a compromise to avoid a long financial drama. Write in the comments, is Dembele worth that money? Manchester United are set to open talks with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer about taking on the role of interim head coach after the sacking of Ruben Amorim. A return for the Norwegian could happen as early as the Manchester derby. Solskjaer is expected to visit the Carrington training base soon and speak directly with the club's leadership about stepping in until the end of the season. Sky Sports report that he is in competition for the role with Michael Carrick. Ole is expected to meet with Chief Executive Omar Barada and Sporting Director Jason Wilcox. At the same time, Barada and Wilcox already spoke with Carrick on Thursday. While Solskjaer and Carrick are currently the leading candidates, Darren Fletcher should not be completely dismissed. He is currently in charge of the team and remains on the shortlist. If Solskjaer gets the job, Carrick is prepared to return as his assistant, as he has done before. Right now, Ole appears to be a slight favorite for the interim position. That said, it is unclear whether Carrick would bring Solskjaer into his staff if Michael ends up being appointed instead. Let's pause for a moment so you can leave a like or a dislike on the video. Any reaction matters. Thanks for the support. It genuinely helps the channel. Honestly, bringing Solskjaer back as United's head coach again looks very odd. I could understand appointing Fletcher or Carrick, but returning to someone the club has already let go once is hard to wrap your head around. While Ole is a club legend who did a very good job as an interim manager, his dismissal later on was fully justified. It is hard to believe in the long-term success of this idea. If he suddenly goes on a strong run, the club must be extremely careful not to repeat the same mistake and avoid keeping him permanently. The only way to break this cycle is by appointing a truly elite manager. Many people are genuinely concerned that if Solskjaer enjoys a good period, he will simply be kept on full time, and the story will repeat itself. Those concerns are completely fair. However, if it is clearly fixed as a strictly temporary appointment and nothing more, then the option can work. He knows the club inside out, played here, coached here, and understands the environment better than most. At the moment, finding a genuinely top-level manager who is also available is almost impossible. There are simply no realistic candidates who fit and are free. Solskjaer until the end of the season is a reasonable solution. At the same time, it cannot be ruled out that Ole himself hopes to turn the interim role into a permanent one over time. The Norwegian is already halfway back to Manchester United, and only something truly extraordinary could stop it. We await confirmation from trusted sources. The transfer window's been open over a week now, and when it comes to Arsenal, it's business as usual. Plenty of rumors, even more names. And it feels like the Gunners aren't rushing anywhere or grabbing the first option available, but the club clearly has a few directions. According to The Sun, Arsenal are now linked with Tino Livramento from Newcastle. This is a 23-year-old fullback who's already called one of the most sought-after defensive talents in England. And the Gunners' interest makes sense here. The club is looking at extra options for the defensive flank. Arsenal consider Livramento the ideal candidate for Mikel Arteta's tactical setup. He can be useful both defensively and in attacking transitions, which is exactly what this system values. But then the issue of money arises. Livramento's price tag is around £60 million, roughly the same figure quoted last summer too. This immediately becomes a serious barrier for any deal, especially given that Arsenal already had a summer of heavy spending. And yet, according to reports, the club doesn't plan to stop there. What's Newcastle's stance? Livramento's contract runs until 2028. At the same time, rumor has it he wants a new agreement that would reflect his importance to the first team. Tino himself has said there haven't been contract talks yet, but reports stress that a renewal is a priority for the Magpies, and that sounds logical given interest from top clubs. Crucially, in January, none of this will likely happen. It's reported any deal would be delayed until at least summer, as Newcastle probably won't want to sell a key player to a direct Premier League competitor this month. And another important point, Manchester City's interest in Livramento has been discussed for a while too. Apparently, the citizens are looking at the young defender to cover a position that's been worrying Pep Guardiola. The current situation is clear. Winter, almost no movement. Summer, quite possibly Livramento becomes a major target for both Arsenal and City when the market reopens. Barcelona have sorted a clear plan regarding Marcus Rashford. The Catalan side brought the Manchester United forward in on loan at the season's start, instantly including a subsequent buy option in the deal. Since moving to Spain, Marcus's form has genuinely gone up. It is noticeable on the pitch, and in La Liga, he is already viewed as a real threat to rival defenses. Right now, Rashford's stats for the Blaugrana look confident. In 26 games for Barcelona, he has netted 7 goals and delivered 11 assists. For the season run-in, Marcus has a distinct aim to establish himself in Hansi Flick's starting lineup. He does not accept being a rotation player in attack. He counts on being a constant choice for the start. Based on available info, Hansi Flick is pleased with the impact Rashford has had on the team's results. With this in mind, the start of official negotiations regarding the forward's future is expected soon, although it cannot be called definite yet. Per the media, Barcelona are inclined to retain Marcus once the loan concludes. Journalist Alfredo Martinez states that the club has already indicated a benchmark for the transfer fee. It is about 30 million euros for a full buyout. A return for Rashford to Manchester United is currently viewed as an unlikely option and is independent of who trains the team. Keep in mind, the player's contract with the English club is valid until summer 2028. Fabrizio Romano adds his take as well. His data suggests Barcelona have signaled to the player and his entourage that they want him to remain in the team. Romano does stress a key detail, however. As of today, there are no guarantees the buy option will be triggered. The decisive factor will be the club's financial health in the summer. This matter holds particular weight for United. Following the arrival of Ineos and Sir Jim Ratcliffe, the club is actively working on cutting wage bills. Even though Barcelona are covering a significant chunk of Rashford's wages, he is still one of the priciest players owned by Manchester United. In England, there are plenty of reasons not to seek his return, primarily financial ones. In Spain, the picture looks different. The upcoming months will determine the final outcome. Chelsea know that without serious new investment, it is impossible to compete with the elite clubs anymore. The club is really keen to finally bring in a genuine world-class striker. According to Caught Offside, the main focus right now is Julian Alvarez from Atletico. In London, he is being openly labeled as the #1 transfer target. Chelsea are preparing an official bid of up to 150 million euros in order to convince Atletico to release the player. At this moment, Alvarez is genuinely one of the best forwards in Europe. Paying that kind of money for him would be a very loud statement. It would clearly signal that the club is changing its transfer strategy. For years now, Chelsea have spent massive amounts on young talents, trying to build a squad for the long term. But so far, that approach has not really delivered the desired results. A move for a ready-made, proven top-level player like Alvarez now feels like the right decision. The Argentine is under contract with Atletico until 2030, so the Madrid club are in no hurry at all. Still, if Chelsea truly arrive with such a fee, saying no would be extremely difficult. There is something else that is hard to say no to. Subscribing to this channel for free. Unlike Atletico, I am not asking for 150 million euros. Your subscription is more than enough. Otherwise, it looks a bit odd. You watch the videos like experienced scouts, analyze everything, collect the information, but never actually sign the contract with the channel. Do not act like a board that waits until the very last second. Just hit the button now. Alvarez moved to Atletico from Manchester City and delivered an outstanding first season, with 36 goal contributions in all competitions. This season, he is continuing in the same way, already on 11 goals and 5 assists. This is exactly the kind of striker that Chelsea in its best years would have targeted without hesitation, to genuinely challenge for the biggest trophies once again. He has already proven himself in the Premier League during his time at City, where he won everything. Fast, technical, deadly in front of goal, excellent from set pieces, and extremely hard-working without the ball. Julian is currently one of the top strikers in world football and right at his peak. That is why signing him would be a huge win for Chelsea. Liam Rosinier's side must now decide on concrete steps to bring him to Stamford Bridge, either in January or next summer. Bruno Fernandes' future at Manchester United right now is under a massive question mark. Insiders appear more often in the press saying the Portuguese star might leave Old Trafford in the very near future. And it seems the ground for this transfer is not just prepared, but fully fertilized with cash from Saudi Arabia. It is known that Al Hilal officially approached Bruno with an offer that is extremely hard to refuse. The Portuguese lad was offered a wage of £600,000 a week. If you count it for the year, that is about 30 million euros. But the most interesting bit is the sum Manchester United could get. The Saudis are ready to drop 100 million euros for the transfer. For your understanding, the market value of Fernandes is now rated at just 40 million. Frankly, this offer is simply cosmic for both the player and the club. The Red Devils get a chance to sell their leader way above the real price, and Bruno signs a contract that nobody else anywhere would offer him. The reason this is happening now hides in a recent interview by the footballer himself. Bruno openly stated that last summer the Man United board wanted to sell him. Fernandes admitted he can't forget this, and thoughts of betrayal by the bosses really bother him now. Obviously, such statements don't pass without a trace. It looks like when Bruno said all this, he understood perfectly what process he was launching. It was a direct signal to other clubs saying, "Lads, I am ready for new challenges." Of course, there is an option to stay in Europe. Info popped up that Fernandes likes Bayern Munich, and they really want to see him there too. There is a catch though. The Munich side, if they agree to a deal, will pay market value at best and offer a salary 2 times lower than in Saudi Arabia. Yes, the temptation to stay in a top league is big, as Bruno is a high-level master, but the financial gap between offers is colossal. Plus, Plus, at Man United, the manager changed again. Ruben Amorim was removed, and now the bosses are searching for a new gaffer. And this means another rebuild, new problems, and uncertainty. Does Bruno at his age want to go through all this again? It feels like he is already just fed up with these endless new projects. In this situation, moving to Saudi Arabia looks like a logical decision. It is a chance to earn for a comfortable retirement. True, for Manchester United itself, the captain leaving will be a massive blow. Right now, it is hard to even guess how the team will finish this season without their key motor. It is interesting that it was Amorim last summer who played a decisive role to convince Bruno to stay, when Al Hilal was already approaching him. Then the coach insisted the Portuguese be part of his project. Now Amorim is gone, but this does not guarantee the instant departure of Fernandes. By the looks of it, we shouldn't expect a transfer in January. At the moment, Bruno is still focused on playing for the Red Devils. But come summer, ahead of the World Cup, Saudi clubs will surely get active again. So far, there are no changes in the player's position, but the offer of €100 million continues to lie on the table. Let us know if Man United should let Bruno go for such money, or is he irreplaceable? Write your opinion in the comments.